Hey folks, I'm Dave. Welcome to the channel. So in our last two projects, we made a coffee bar tray to hold cups and stirrers and sugar and whatever else you want to put in there. And then we made a wall hanger. So today we're going to make a hot cocoa tray to set next to it and kind of round out the set. So we're going to start with a square. Just drag out a rectangle and drop it. Click the selector tool, go up top, make sure your lock is off. We're going to make this a width of 114 and a height of 152. And that is about 4.5 by 6 inches. Then you want to select it, go over to the Shape Properties tab and just radius off 2. And that just keeps the corners from being sharp. Because the base will hang out a little bit, just like it did with the coffee bar tray, if you saw that video. So now we want to select it and go over to the offset tool. We want to do a inward offset of 2 millimeters and click OK. Scroll in. Remember, you can scroll in and out with your mouse wheel. You can push down and move the entire canvas around. You want to select that inner offset and then go down to the bottom and make it a tool. And that's so we can get our slots lined up. So we can do those now. Just grab a square, drag out a rectangle and drop it. Click your selector tool, go down and make it a cut. And to adjust for the kerf, I'm using a 40-watt laser, and the material we're using is a 5mm Luan hardwood plywood. So I'm going to make the slot 4.7, and that'll help it have a tighter fit. And then I think for the width we'll just do 30. And make yourself a copy with Control D, and then just move it off to the side. That way you'll have it when you need it for something else. So you can select your slot, get on the edge with your mouse, hold the Alt key, and then snap it to that tool. And if you see those crosshairs, you'll know you're in the center. And that capability came about with Lightburn version 1.6. So with that slot selected, Control D, get another one, use the down arrow, and just take it to the other end. When you get close, scroll in and do the same thing. Grab the edge, hold Alt, and just snap it in. The snap is a lot stickier now with version 1.6. It'll snap from further away, which is a good thing. Okay, let's get another duplicate and pull it out, and then we'll use a comma key to flip it counterclockwise. We want 2 of these, so we're going to snap this one in, and you don't have to measure, just snap it in, grab the edge. There we go. You can hold Alt or not. That looks pretty good. We'll Control D, get another one, we'll move it out. And then we'll select both of those together. And then we can group them up top. And then shift and select your tool. And then go up to horizontal alignment and click horizontal center. And it'll move them where we need them. All right. So now we can grab both of those. We can Control D, use the right arrow key, and just move 2 more out. And you don't want to group any of this together. And that looks like it hit exactly where it needs to be, but I'm going to check it. So select it, hold your Alt key, and yes, we're good. Okay. So let's make the end pieces. I'll just move that out of the way. the end pieces will be equal to this, the end edges, because it'll face this way with the small edge facing you. So to check that length, we can go over to the ruler, and you get this pop up. You have your segment length here. Whatever's purple is your length. So we want that one right there, and that is a 109.9. So let's click OK, and we will move that out of the way a little bit. 109.9. I'm reminding myself. So just drag out a rectangle, click OK, and then we want that width 109.9. And then that height, we're going to make it 76. That's about 3 inches. Okay. So now we have one panel. And if we grab that, it should fit right in there. And it does. Okay. So we'll put a tab on that. You can grab this when you copied and just duplicate it and move it over. Now, since we're using 5mm wood, and this we used as a slot first, and it's 4.7, we want to make it the full 5. So make it 5. You can get in close, grab your edge, hold Alt, and as long as you get that center, you're okay. And sometimes when you're putting tabs on, you see the line here. Sometimes if it don't hit just right, that line will remain. So you can select this, and you can just pull it up inside, select and weld, and that way you can be sure that it's exactly what you need. And we all want what we need and want what we want. So Control D, make another one, pull it down to the bottom. I'm using the down arrow. That's an easy way to move stuff around on the workspace. So now we need to do the side panels. Now with the side panels, we need this measurement of the side tool minus 10mm because of the thickness of the wood. Because when you look at it from the front, you won't see the edge of the wood, and that's what we're going for. And that's why we didn't put any tabs on the left or right of this, or any slots for the tabs to come through. Because it'll hold it in there tight with the kerf adjustment, and a little bit of glue's fine, but it'll be okay. All right, so let's get our ruler again, and we want to check that inside panel, and that is 147.9. Okay, 147.9. We'll drag one out, drop it, and we'll make it a height of 147.9. I have to keep repeating it, folks, because I'll forget. All right, now we're going to make this a width of 76. And that gives us our 3 inches. And now we need to pull it down and get our slots, or our tabs rather, on there. So we want to just center this up here with this piece. So you can select the first piece, shift, select the second piece, and this is the outer, but the inner would work as well. And then go to horizontal alignment and click center. And that should put us right where we need to be, and minus our 10. So now we can click here. We can select, those were grouped, so it would have just selected by touching it. Then Control D and left arrow set out, get in close, get on the edge and grab it, hold Alt, and then touch it, make sure it's centered, and release your mouse, and there you go. And then you can pull this on inside like that, just to make sure. Now, the reason they don't connect sometimes is probably my fault. Something's not square or something. But anyway, if you do that, it'll help you to get exactly what you need. Okay, click weld, and that should be good. We can control D, move us one out with the right arrow. Then we can shift control H to flip it around horizontally. And there we go. Okay, so now all we need to do is put some writing on here. And remember, you can scroll in and out with your mouse. You can push it down, move the entire canvas around. If I didn't already say that, I may have. I say it a lot. All right, so we're going to use a free font called Arco Typography. And I got this from dafont.com. I used it on the previous two projects. And I'll leave a link. You can go grab it and grab some others while you're out there. And it's good to know that they're free and public domain, so you don't have to worry about someone coming back and saying, hey, you used my font in some improper way. Okay, so first we're going to cut part of this panel out, the front panel. So we're going to grab a square, and we're just going to drag us out a rectangle, drop it in there, and that looks pretty good. We're not even going to measure it. And we're going to shift, select the outside edge, go to the vertical alignment and click vertical center, and we're good. And now we're going to select both of those and go up to tools, down to Boolean Assistant, and then we are going to subtract A from B. Right there, click OK, and there we go. Looks like goalpost. All right. It'll be football time soon. All right, so now we want to grab our text tool, and we're going to go up top and grab Arco Typography. I'm going to move in a little closer, and we're just going to type out. Doesn't matter what size, because we're going to resize anyway. And this particular font is all caps. There's no lowercase, so it doesn't matter if you put the caps lock on or not. We're going to type hot, return, Cocoa. Just like that. We're going to click the selector tool. And to make this work right, I'll go ahead and make it a little larger now. You can select it, right click, and convert to path. And then the letters and text no longer is letters and text. It's objects. So I'll Control Z to put that back where it belongs. But note, when you do that, the center pieces in any of the letters, if you just grab the outer edge and move it, the center is going to stay there. So it's a good idea to select these letters, unless you have a whole bunch of them, and just group those little pieces together. And that way you don't risk losing any, which I have done in the past. So, okay, those are grouped. Now we want to grab this hot. We're going to hold the Alt key. We're going to pull it over to the edge so it's just right. And we're going to set that right. I want a little crack in there because we're going to put a little piece in it. I guess that'll have to do. Okay, so now we're going to grab a square and put us a little rectangle. And we're going to leave it hanging past just a little bit so it'll touch these other edges over here when we connect it. Click your selector tool. All it needs to do is just touch a little bit and you will be good to go. Right there, that looks good. You can select everything and weld it together. And sometimes you question whether you should use weld or union. Union you're limited to 2 objects. And with weld, it can be, you can have a page full of them and it don't matter, you can still do it. Okay, so we're going to make a cup, kind of like the cups you walk away from the coffee shop with. And we can set this over here first. I'll try to make sure it's not behind my head. Set this over here, resize it, and then we'll make us a cup to go on it. We just want those pieces to touch and the letters to barely touch. And then we're going to stretch this up like that. And you want to make sure you leave a gap in here on the edges, otherwise your letters will kind of lose their integrity. So grab it, pull it down a little bit more. I think that looks good, and you can test it just by grabbing everything, welding it together, and if it looks good, you're good. Okay, so let's make a cup. One easy way to do that is just grab a square, just draw out a little rectangle, click your selector tool, go up to Tools and down to Deform Selection 16 points, and you get this. But if you pull the top out like a cup, maybe this second one a little bit, kind of like that, then click your selector tool, then you can Control D, get a copy, and then do Shift Control H for a horizontal flip, and then use the arrow keys to move it around. You can match the other side identical. You don't have to guess at trying to shape the other side exactly the way you did the first one. Then you can just grab it and weld it together and squeeze it up a little bit if you like. And then I guess we can put a top on there too. So let's grab another square, draw out a rectangle. Messing my words up here. Click the selector tool, grab that, and then weld that on. Let's get it into position over here. Just kind of put it here, set it down, and we'll make it a little bit smaller so we can put a stirrer in the top and make it look more like a coffee cup. Probably put a little engraving across that lid as well. Okay, let's grab that and weld it in. It's welded, and then let's put a piece across the top. So grab another square. You can hold the Alt key as you draw, and it'll help you not draw outside of the lines. And just set that right on top of there and let it barely touch. Let go. And don't forget to click the selector tool or you'll draw lines all over the page. All right, now you want to select it and weld, and that looks pretty good. Okay, let's put a stirrer. So just draw out a little rectangle, and that's probably a little too big. We'll make it a width of, let me click this selector tool first. We'll make it 3 millimeters. That ought to be good. And then just bring it over, set it in there somewhere, twist it so it looks more like a stirrer, and then select everything and weld. Nope, I'm sorry, it's union. And I just mentioned I'm using Control Z to go back. Sometimes you forget if you're using one more than the other. Union is here in the modifier tools, but it's also up in Tools, Boolean Assistant, and right here on the end. You can select Union, select OK. So if you're bridging a gap, it's Union. So that's what you want. Okay, so we will put a little mark. I'm going to pull this in closer. We'll put a little mark on this cup. So let's grab the drawing tool. And to draw a straight line, if you hadn't seen this in any of my other videos, you want to select the tool, left click your mouse, hold down the shift key, release your mouse, and then drag your mouse along. And then left click, right click to release it, and then release shift. And then don't forget to hit that selector tool, or you will draw lines all over the page. Okay, so now we're going to use the offset tool, and we're going to do a outward offset at about 0.5 of a millimeter, just enough to make a mark. Then you can pull your original out, hit the delete key, and let it go. Okay, now we can turn this into an engraving. And as soon as you set up an engrave, go to your cuts and layers and make sure you move it above your cut line. You don't have to worry about your tool line. You can turn the frame off, but you don't have to turn off the output because there is no output. Okay, so let's grab this and move it over here and then try to resize it a little bit to make it look a little better. I think that looks fine. And we can get rid of this extra slot we made. We don't need that anymore. Now we can correct the mistake I made earlier. For these side panels, as I was telling you that we needed to reduce by 10 millimeters to allow for the end pieces, so this one would slide in between. As I was saying it, I was forgetting it at the same time. So rather than them being 147.9, they should have been 137.9. And the best way to do this is just do it from scratch and get rid of these two end panels. So we'll delete one, delete the other, grab another square, draw out a rectangle, hit the selector tool, go up top, make it 76 by 137.9. Okay, now it's right. So if you're up to version 1.6 of Lightburn, you can hold down the Alt key here and just center this. Just get on the edge and get your center line right there and drop it. If you're on a previous version, you can just select your rectangle, shift and select your larger rectangle, be it the inside or the outside, it doesn't matter. And then go up top to horizontal alignment and hit the horizontal center tool, and you'll be good. Okay, so now we just need to put the tabs on it. So you can select the tabs, Control D, because we never grouped this base together, so they're still loose. Then use the right arrow key to pull them over, and they look pretty good. We just lucked out that they happened to hit right on the edge. That happens sometime. If not, of course, you'd have to select them, and then you'd have to get them snapped so you could weld. But like I always say, pull that in a little bit as long as they're lined up. Select, and then weld. While it's selected, Control D to duplicate. Move it over to the other side. And you can flip it around or just do Control Shift H, the hotkey for horizontal flip. And now we are ready to jump in the laser. So let's do that. Cut this out, and we'll get a closer look at it. Okay, folks, I'll be right back. All right, we are framed up and ready to go. So we will send the code over, cut this out, and see what it looks like. Okay, let me clean this up and put it together, and we'll get a closer look at it. All right, well, here is our hot cocoa tray all finished up. I think it looks pretty good. And it's the last piece of the coffee bar set. And if you give this a try and you have questions, let me know in the comments and I'll get you an answer. And I will drop links to the Arco typography font, as well as the 5mm Luan plywood. It's a really nice project wood. I think you'll enjoy using it. So the kerf adjustment helped it fit tight, but I did use a small amount of glue. I just brushed a little bit on the tabs. Probably not necessary, and the kerf on your laser may be quite different from mine, so just test it on a piece of scrap wood before you cut up your final piece of wood. So if you have questions about anything I've got posted, or any general laser or Lightburn questions, I'm glad to try to answer those. And if this video was helpful, please like and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow, and it'll help me to keep doing this. So I really appreciate the comments and the questions. They help me as a newbie learn a lot from them, and it also helps any viewers that come across them. So I really appreciate it. So just check back often for new videos. You folks take care, and we'll see y'all next time. Thank you.